My girlfriend Julia and I had been dating for 3 months when I went into a math test unprepared and got burned. I had never failed a test before, and I had always been told that I was incredibly smart. I tried to talk to my girlfriend about it, but she shoved her test in my face.
How could you let me fail too?
She marched out of the classroom, and I was too stunned by her anger to respond. Later, when I walked into the bathroom, I saw her kissing my classmate, Harry. I felt so sick, I almost puked, but luckily I ran out of there before I vomited and gave myself away. I took refuge in the library and read my favorite book to try and calm my racing heart. I read for so long that I accidentally forgot to go to class. By the time I got there, I was 20 minutes late. As I sat down, my teacher gave me a dirty look. To make matters worse, I'd forgotten I was sitting next to Harry in this class. The teacher's lecture sounded like gibberish. I stared at Harry. His nose was buried in his notes, so he didn't even notice me. I saw a copy of his math test on his desk, the one I had failed. He had gotten a 97%. The bell rang and my teacher gave me a detention slip for being late. I walked to my locker, but when I was getting my books, someone grabbed my arm. It was Julia.
Gary, I want to talk about something.
I recoiled away from her and slammed my head into the locker. Ow! My girlfriend looked shocked.
Oh my God, Gary, are you okay?
She tried to comfort me and take me to the nurse's office, but I pushed her away. Don't touch me, Julia. I know what you did. I gave her an icy stare, but she looked confused. Her confusion turned to horror when I revealed I'd seen her kissing Harry earlier. Just then, Harry came over and he handed Julia a stack of papers.
These are the homework problems. I can explain them later, after school when we have some alone time.
He gave her a warm smile that turned my stomach. My girlfriend smiled back at him, and when he left, she looked at me with anger.
I only went out with you because you were the smartest guy in our school. Now that you failed a math test, I need to move on, Gary. Harry is going to be so much better for me and our grades, but we can still be friends. And maybe if you get smart again, I'll consider taking you back.
I slammed my locker shut. I opened my mouth, but words wouldn't come out. I ran to the bathroom and started throwing up in the sink. Julia had been using me to get good grades. Memories of us studying together, her complimenting my intelligence, even her saying she loved me ran through my head. Were those all lies? As I washed my puke down the sink, a strange goth girl walked in.
Are you okay?
I wiped off my mouth with a paper towel. She explained that she had seen me running in and was concerned. I couldn't find my voice to respond. Julia's voice just played in my head.
Oh my God, Gary, are you okay? We can still be friends. Maybe if you get smart again, I'll consider taking you back.
I ran past the goth girl and out of the bathroom. Then I went back to the school library, skipping my last 2 classes for the day. After school, my parents got a call from the principal. He told them that because I had skipped all my afternoon classes, I was going to have to do Saturday detention. My dad was furious, and he got even more angry when he saw the score on my math test. I locked myself in my room and cried myself to sleep that night. My parents forcibly dragged me out of the house to go to school for the rest of the week. I had to stare at Harry and my ex doing ridiculous acts at PDA. My teacher praised them for their hard work and high grades, but I knew she was just using him because now that my grades had slipped, everyone was whispering in the halls that he was the smartest kid in school. By Saturday, my eyes were red from crying so much. When I got detention, I froze in the doorway, startled. The same goth girl who had spoken to me in the bathroom earlier was here.
Hey, I recognize you. So you got detention too?
The principal stared daggers at the 2 of us.
No playing around! For detention, you 2 will clean the bathrooms and mop the hallways, now!
We got supplies from the janitor's closet. I dragged the heavy mop bucket across the floor at a snail's pace. I can't wait for this to be over. This sucks. The goth girl complained like a grumpy old lady, and the day started to suck a little less as I complained along with her. She told me that she had failed the math test too, and my mouth dropped open with shock. I thought I was the only one.
No way. I literally can't stand math. English is way better.
I found out her favorite book was Catcher in the Rye. It was my favorite too. We started talking and time flew, and by the end of our detention, we were both smiling. This was kind of fun.
Yeah, I had fun talking to you, but I hated cleaning the toilet seats.
When we were leaving, she turned to me and offered me a handshake.
I'm Talia.
And my name's Gary.
We should hang out and study together sometime.
I hesitated, remembering what Julia had said to me at my locker earlier.
I only went out with you because you were the smartest guy in our school.
Talia took out a pen and wrote her phone number on the palm of my hand. Text me, Gary. Later that night, when I got home, I took a picture of my math test and sent it to her. Not sure I can teach you anything. She texted me back a few minutes later with a picture of her failing score.
We'll learn together.
Over the next couple of weeks, Talia and I met up every day after school in the library. We did every math assignment together, and we read through all the lessons and examples. Meanwhile, Julia and Harry were still ogling each other every chance they got. They would leave class holding hands or with their arms around each other, while Talia and I stayed after to meet with our teacher, ask him questions, and watch him solve problems on the projector. All our hard work paid off when our assignments came back and our grades increased from D's to B's and then eventually A's. I showed my dad and he was so happy he took me out for ice cream.
I'm so proud of your hard work, Gary.
His praise made my heart swoon. I owe a lot of thanks to Talia. She helped me a ton. My dad decided that we should invite Talia's family over for dinner one night, but I told him that we had a big math test coming up, so it would have to wait until after that. On the day of the big math test, Julia and Harry were still doing crazy displays of PDA. I did my best to ignore them, focusing on the crazy hard math problems instead. A few days later, we got the results back and the teacher congratulated Talia and me in front of the whole class. We'd gotten a perfect score on the test. We were the only ones who scored that high in the whole class. As I was about to leave, I noticed that Harry was sitting alone in tears. Suddenly, someone grabbed my hand. It was Julia.
I'm so proud of you, Gary. You're the smartest kid in class again.
My ex started batting her eyes and swooning over me.
Let's pick things up where we left off,
Then I saw Talia. She stared at us from across the room, mouth half open in horror. She grabbed her books and ran out like a dog with its tail between its legs. I shook Julia off, then ran after Talia.